guys. This is a little bit different of a video, um, but today I will be reading the Shadow House book, and it's just a voiceover. You don't get to see my face. So let's do this. In the dream that haunted her, Azumi Endo walked barefoot through the forest behind her aunt's home in Yamashi Prefecture. The volcanic rock that had long ago spewed from the top of Mount Fuji made the ground there uneven and tricky beneath twisted tree roots and thick underbrush. Ignoring the clearly marked paths that crisscrossed the wilderness, Azumi often tripped, dropping to her knees, dirtying her nightgown before rising and continuing on. She knew that if she stopped even for a moment, she might feel a hand on her shoulder, and if she turned around, well, she didn't want to imagine what she'd find looming behind her. Tonight she'd pushed farther than she had ever had before, to a ravine where a drop-off sliced through the terrain. In the shadows and fog, she couldn't make out the bottom. One step forward, and she would dive into a pit of sharp branches. A deadly trap rigged to ensnare her. She'd been following one of the long ribbons that had been tied to a trunk near the park's entrance, leading into the heart of the woods. That was where the bodies were hidden. In the dream, her skin was covered in a cool sheen of sweat, and her mind whirled, making her second guess what direction to take. She couldn't lower herself down. The drop was too dangerous. Besides, it didn't seem likely that Moriko was there. Wouldn't she have answered Azumi's call? Azumi suddenly couldn't remember if she'd even been shouting out to Moriko, but she knew that she must have been. Wasn't that why she was there? She was going to find her sister. She had to. Now. It was during moments like this when Azumi began to question how she came to be alone in the middle of the forest at all. That she understood that she was dreaming again. The shadow world of these woods was all in her mind, or at least most of it was. There was another part of the dreaming, another part she never remembered until it was too late. Because whenever Azumi dreamed of the forest, she also walked in her sleep. Azumi opened her eyes to find herself surrounded by darkness, standing in the middle of the woods behind her family's house, outside of Seattle for the third time that month. An ocean now separated her from the haunted forest in Japan, but her mind insisted on closing that distance, putting her right back in the place where she'd lost her sister. The mossy ground of Washington State was cold and wet against the soles of her feet. The summer air cool and humid. She could barely see in the darkness, uncertain whether the ravine had only been part of her dream, or if she was really a few steps from disaster. Not now, not again, she thought, crouching down to protect herself against the night. Mother and father will be terrified. How could she put them through this after what had happened to Moriko, after what Azumi herself had done? She had lost her sister. She couldn't lose herself. The morning after Azumi's latest nightmare, an idea came to her about how she could protect both her parents and herself. She had to accept that if she were to stay home, her dreaming would bring her deeper into danger, closer to a place from which she, too, could not return. On her computer, she searched for boarding schools on the east coast of the U.S., as far from the Pacific Ocean as she could get. Strangely, only a single website popped up, the Larkspur School. She tried the search again and again. She turned the computer off and then on, but the result was always the same. Larkspur. It must be some sort of sign, Azumi thought. Maybe this is supposed to be the one. She glanced over the school's mission statement. The Larkspur School has stood for over a century as a symbol of academic, artistic, and social excellence. Our pastoral campus is ideal for scholars who wish to shine. Azumi didn't need to read any more. This place sounded perfect. Too perfect.